Assalamu guys, Afan back again with another video. And in this video, what we are doing is we are going to be creating a searchable drop-down list. Now, this is a second version of the same thing. I've already uploaded a video on this topic and that used pivot tables. So in this method, we will not be using any pivot tables, and we will be essentially be creating a searchable drop-down list like we've done in the other video. So let's get started. In this column, what I have is, for the sake of this video, I have a alphabetically sorted list of the names of past US presidents. And what we are going to be doing is we are going to be creating a drop-down list using these names. Okay, so let's insert another sheet here and let's call it data entry. Okay, and I'm also going to make this wider and let's so this is the cell where we would be creating the drop-down list. Okay, and the data is going to be coming from this list here. This is alphabetical sorted list of the past and present US presidents. Okay, so let's start. Now, supposing I had entered the letter J here. Okay, now this drop down, once it's created, should only show me names that has the letter J in it. Okay, so let's see. This has a letter J in it, so let me highlight that. This has a letter J. Barack Obama does not. Benjamin Harris has a letter J. Bill Clinton does not. Calvin, Chester, Donald J. Trump, there you go, it's another J, and so on and so forth. Okay, so essentially what we need to do is, once I enter J and I pull the list down, the drop down, it should only show me names that has the letter J in it. Okay, so the first step is we will use the search function. As soon as I start typing is equal to and then SE, Microsoft Excel is going to suggest all the functions that start with SE. So the first one that is search, that's what we want. Find text. So this is what we are looking for. We're going to be looking for, in over here. Okay, comma, within which text? Within this text here. Okay, and close bracket, enter. Now this did not find any letter J in Abraham Lincoln, so it gives me a value error. Now if I were to drag this down here, it gives me once here and you will ask, Barack Obama doesn't have a letter J, so why is that not giving an error? That's because if you see here, it says search data entry C4. That's this cell here. Now when I copy this formula down, this also creeped ahead to C5 and then C6. So what I need to do is I need to click on in between the C and the 4, hit F4, so that will put those dollar signs in front of the C and the 4, thereby locking it. So now if I drag it down, now you see this stays as C4. So that's the trick. If you want to lock a cell, put the dollar sign in front of it. Okay. Now, if this list was a very long list, dragging it would take very long. So what the short way to do this, or quick way to do this is, as I move this pointer to this bottom right corner of the cell, the pointer is going to change to a skinny plus sign. Okay, see how it changes? See how it changes? So I move it over here, so it becomes a skinny plus sign, and I double click on it, and that copies all of it, the formula down, all the way down to the last line. Okay, so we have come this far. Okay, now there was no letter J in Abraham Lincoln, so it gives you a value error. Okay, so what we need to do is we are going to be using an if error function to get rid of that. If error value, that means if there is no error, show this, else give a 0. Okay, so wherever there's a value error, meaning the letter J is not present, put a 0. Wherever you find the letter J or whatever is in the data entry sheet, give the value where you find that text, okay, or that letter. And I double click on it to send it all the way down. You see in Andrew Jackson, J is on the 8th place. Andrew Johnson, J is on the 8th place. There's no J in Abraham Lincoln, so the value is here 0. There's no J in Obama, Barack Obama, so 0. Bill Clinton, again no J, so 0. Kelvin, 0. Chester, 0. Donald J. Trump, if found a J, it gives you a location, all right? Similarly over here, if you say James, the first letter is J, so it gives you a 1. James, Buchanan, 1. James, these all start with the letter J, okay, all the way down here. Now, Lyndon B. Johnson, the J is in the 11th place. So we have come this far, okay? Now, what I want is, you know, the if error, wherever it did not find the letter J, it gave me a 0. Where it did, it gave me a position of, you know, where the letter was. But instead of giving me the position, I just want a 1 showing up there, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an if command, if function, okay? Logical test. Now, if this is not equal to 0, that means anything other than 0, put a 1. And if the value is 0, put a 0. Now you'll see where you see 8, 8, 4, 8, they'll turn into, once I copy this formula down, it will change into ones. See how wherever there was a J, it became a 1. Okay, so we've got the first column done. Now these are all basically helper columns, okay? Now in this column here, what we are going to do is we're going to see if this is not 0, then you add up whatever is above that. You sum everything that's above. If it's 0, then just ignore it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put if this B9 is not equal to 0, then sum. Okay, now I'm going to lock the first letter here, the first reference, by hitting F4. So it's $B, $9, B9. Okay, and close bracket. So if B9 is not a 0, then sum this up. Right now, because is B9 to B9, so basically only add this. If it's over here, then it will be B9 to B10. It will keep the range would keep expanding. Over here, it would be B9 all the way down to B11. Okay. Now, if it's not 0, then sum it. Otherwise, just put a 0. Close bracket. Enter. Okay. And I'm going to push this formula all the way down by moving my cursor to the bottom right. The cursor changes the flat plus sign symbol, changes to a skinny plus symbol, and I double click and it pushes all the way down. So now you see 0, it gives a 0 here. There's a 1, it gives a 1 because it's only adding 0 and the 1, so it gives you a 1. Here's a 1, so it's if I see this formula, it's going all the way up here, the first 3 rows. Okay. Now because this is 0, I want to put a 0 here. I don't want a number showing the sum showing up. Okay. And then over here from 2 plus 1, if I click here, now it's 1, 2, and 3 showing up here. So basically, wherever there was a 1, a number increment keeps showing up. Okay, so that's my second helper column. Now, in this column here, what I want to know is what row number it is. Okay, now if for Excel, this is row number 9, but this is the first entry. So I need to know which entry is. So I can use the row function, which tells me returns the number of rows in a reference. So I'm just going to close this and hit enter. It gives me a 9 because that's this row number 9. But this is the first entry. So if I do a -8 on it, that gives me a 1. That means this is the first entry. Okay, and I double click and push it down. So you see how it just goes 1, 2, 3, because they all, the row number, for example, 12 -8 is 4, 13 -8 is 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I've got my third helper column done. Now what I want is, excuse me, I need to match, find in this column which has the names. Okay, wherever I see this number, I need to find it here and then return whatever name is here. Okay, so let's see how we do that. I'm going to, because we are looking up, we are doing a lookup to the left, VLOOKUP will not work. Okay, so we have to use an index and match function, the index and match functions together. Now I had done a video some time back on how to use index and match together, but we'll just review it over here. So it's equal to index, I'm saying array. Okay, so this is what it needs to go through. Okay, and I'm going to lock this. Oops, sorry. And this is going to get locked. Okay, now the row number, for the row number, I'm going to be using the match function. Now the lookup value, it needs to look up 1, comma, where does it do that? It needs to do it here. And I'm going to lock this, comma, lookup type, hashtag, I want an exact match. So 0, close bracket. Now this close bracket is for the match, and I also need to close a bracket for the index function. Hit enter. Okay, so it found Andrew Jackson, which was the first one. Okay, and I double click on it and send it down. So it found all the, it brought here all the names that had the letter J in it. Okay, but wherever it did not find the letter J, it gives you an error. So once again, we are going to be using the if error function. So wherever there is no error, give this whatever this amounts to, and if there is an error, just put error found. Okay, and I'm going to just double click and set it down. See over here it says error found, error found. Okay, it only brought you the names where the letter J was showing up. Okay, now you go to the data entry sheet. Here's where we will be constructing the drop down. So we'll go into data, and this is the data validation. I have done videos on drop downs again using data validation, so I urge you to go and review those videos, but we'll be reviewing them here again. So this will be like a refresher. So I click on it. Now here it says allow any value. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say from a list. Okay, in fact, let me just back up here a bit. there's a function that I'll be using is called the offset. Now what this does is it creates a data range for you, okay? It says reference, row, column, height, and width. Okay, so let's create this here. Reference is the first entry here, and I'm going to hit F9 to lock, comma, number of rows that I want to move down, none, so I just put a comma. Number of columns I move across, I don't, comma. So instead of putting a 0, I can just put a comma. Then the height, okay. The height of this array that's going to create is all this, the height, you know, from here all the way till it says error found. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a countIf function. Criteria range, that's your full range here, comma, criteria, I need to put that within quotes, and then I want it not to be equal to error found, so I put a greater than, less than, which tells Excel not equal to error found, close inverted commas, and close bracket. Now this close bracket is for the COUNTIF. Okay, and width, how many columns? Just one column, and close bracket. Okay, so that's essentially how we create this, how we use the offset function. Now what I'm going to do is we are going to be using that in the drop down. So I come here, data validation, list, and for the source, I'm just going to paste the formula that I had just created. Go to error alerts and turn this off and click on OK. And we are done. Now, because I've got J here, what it's going to do is it's going to show me only these names. Okay. Now, if I go into drop down, that's all the names that show up. All the names that have the letter J in it. So say for example, I'm looking for Regan, R-E. This should show me Ronald Reagan, okay? And any other name that has R-E in it. And drop down. So Andrew, R-E, Andrew Johnson, this Andrew has R-E. R-E over here, R-E, R-E. If I say R-E-A, now probably Ronald Reagan would be the only name that shows up. All right, so that's essentially how you create a searchable drop-down without using pivot tables and macros that we used in the previous example. Here you're just using straightforward functions that are part of standard Microsoft Excel. Now, if I don't have anything here, now because if you notice, all these names, there's no one name. There's always the first name, at times a middle initial, and then the last name. So there's always the character space. So if I don't put anything here, the whole list shows up. But the moment I type something in, and then I do a drop down, now J.A. Jackson, Benjamin J.A., James J.A., James. Okay, let's try something else. F.R. Franklin. Let's see what comes up. F.R. Drop down. Franklin D. Roosevelt and Franklin Pierce. Let's try another one. G.E.O. And drop down. George Bush, George W. Bush, and George Washington. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have any comments, just put it down in the comment section below. Thank you.